Hello, I'm Jody, Wolfe, and you're watching Expoz. It is Thanksgiving, November 28, 2019. It's 1:01 a.m. in Birmingham. Topic, listening to HAGMANN with guest RUSS DIZDAR. Just finished. Not good. A lot is happening. And it seems, if you want to go by the highs and the lows, well, there are no highs. And RUSS DIZDAR seems to think that, we're right at Revelations 19. And, I say right at it. He talked a lot about the army that's going to amass the 200 million on horseback. He said it's entirely possible. And the reason for that, who could figure why would they have 200 million men on horseback? Well, you got to remember that if there's an EMP or 2 or 3 or 50, none of their equipment's going to work. Even a lot of their handheld carried weapons have some kind of electronics in them. So it's highly likely what John saw is exactly descriptive in a very correct way. 200 million men on horseback. But it's not like what we imagine. You'll have the Antichrist. He'll put out a war cry, more or less, and every leader of every nation, not just some, every nation, and keep in mind, they're all warlords now because the rapture occurred years ago. So they're getting ready. And they amass 200 million all around Israel, but they're not fighting each other. They have all their weapons, missiles, everything they have that they can shoot upward is pointed up. And they know, and we're talking about the powers of darkness, they know, just like when Jesus cast the demons out of the man, and they said, have you come to punish us before our time? See, they even know when it's going to happen. Satan knows when it's going to happen. But they still think that they can defeat the one who's going to come down. And who's going to come down? Jesus be on a white horse, and we will be behind him. But we'll not engage in this battle. And it won't be a drawn-out battle. It'll be a very quick battle. And it'll be over. Jesus is not going to mess around. And Satan will be cast into a pit and bound for 1,000 years. But let me go to another scenario, not about that particular Revelations 19, but there's a guy, and he's got a lot of blogs out there. He's an older guy. He's got suspenders on, a long beard, and he rocks in a rocking chair, and he answers questions about biblical end days events. Well, somebody talked to him or asked him about what's going to happen during that time. And why does it take Israel so long to bury and to burn? I disagree with what the man said. He said that there will be full-time employment for all passerbys in that day after the battle of Ezekiel 38:39, because it'll take them 7 months to bury the dead. And the passerbys, their job will be to locate the bones. Apparently, all the dead, after they were killed, if they weren't kind of vaporized down to the bone, this is when God called for the great feast of the birds of prey to come in and eat the kings and eat the kingsmen. And so the passerbys, these are people, they are to put a stick, a white stick with a flag on it, indicating here are some bones. Well, and this is why it will take the Jews, it'll take the whole house to bury that many people, because there's going to be in the millions. It'll take them 7 months to do it. But the gentleman, again, called the door, he said, along with burying the dead, he said they'll be burying the dead 7 years while they're burning the weapons. I think he kind of didn't mean to say that, but I want to say 7 months is the time it will take to bury the dead. And again, you have weapons today that are made out of extreme high pressure, steam treated plastics with other kinds of additives in it that makes it stronger than steel, but it will burn like coal. This is why it'll take them 7 years. Look, there's no telling how much armor, how many tanks, how many jets, how many guns. You don't know how much these people can leave behind when they brought this much against tiny little Israel to defeat them. A lot. You go back to the 67 war. You go back to the little bit of the 71 war, and there's a couple others. Look, Israel still has a buttload of weapons stockpiled that they took spoils of war from those who came after them in those days. I remember clearly, not specifically the phone call that Kissinger turned down, but I remember him, I remember Nixon, I remember all that stuff, but I didn't remember the call, and probably didn't pay attention to it because I was probably I was 18 at that time, I think. And anyway, what I'm getting at today, and this happened not yesterday, not on Tuesday, but it happened on Monday. They have brought charges up on Netanyahu. 3 charges. But Netanyahu is right now at the moment ignoring these charges, and I'm with him. I am with him, and I think that it'll go nowhere, just like what they're doing to our president, Donald J. Trump. They're not going anywhere. I mean, how many lies have we heard from the left? Well, when they fail on one, then they start another. Fail on that one, they start on another. Same thing with Netanyahu. Whatever they do, it's not going to hurt them. But here's a problem. When Netanyahu goes to Gantz, and then they try to get together with the blue and white party, and again, the blue and white party cannot be in control because Netanyahu's votes are too great in order for them to have enough votes, they have to accept that from the Arab party. No way, and like I said before, no way that the Arabs will have a say. If you think there's problems now on the Temple Mount, with them stopping the Jews at every turn from doing something, from praying for it'll be 10 times worse than that. So Judea, Samaria are the two places that Netanyahu's going to take back, and he is going to take back. But if you recall in the Bible, in the Ezekiel 38 war, that will lock in Judea and Samaria. They'll lock it in. It'll be theirs. But then when you go into the 7-year tribulation, midways, when the false prophet steps foot into the temple and desecrates the temple, then God said, those in Judea, run. If you're on the house working, run off, leave your tools. Don't even go inside and get anything. Run. And he says that multiple times of different scenarios. If you're in the field working, drop what you're doing. Don't carry nothing with you. Run. 2/3 of the Jews will be cut off, and they'll be cut off by their neighbors in Samaria and in Judea. They'll die, but I think they'll die saved. So this is something that I see and that I'm looking at today, and I'm seeing a fragmentation of the political parties in Israel not bringing things together is a sign of weakness to those around them, that they may, or this may expedite the Ezekiel 38 war a little bit quicker. And I see how badly things are going on right here in our country with our president. Guys, in all honesty, I can't see another year. I can't see another whole year going by without that Ezekiel 38 war. As far as Trump, I have so much faith in him because God's behind him. And until the rapture of the church, he'll be in charge. Trump will be president. And one more thing, even though the prophecies that Kim Clements and the fireman saw said he'll be a 2-term president, God can change his mind. You know that. And whether he's a 2-term or whether still we get into one day into his sworn in on January 2021 or 2021, then it can go. That is 4 months leading up to 4 months go by, and then flat out, there's only 7 years left of time in this millennium before the next millennium starts. I don't believe that we're going to wait and go to the wire. And well, the date, and I'm just picking a date, I know it's in May, but May 14, that day begins the final 7 years on this planet as we know it, which will be the 7-year tribulation. So the church will be out of here. Israel will be with God. God will be with them, and the Gentiles have gone. They have, their time is over. We're out of here. And then God will take that next 7 years and work with his elect. I don't know what to think, except I believe. Don't waste your time thinking that we'll be here another year, 2 or 3 or 4. It's not going to happen. Too much bad stuff is going on, and the battle plans are being drawn today. And the horrors that's going around the world, and if you listen to Russ DIZDAR today on HAGMANN, it's a shocker. It is a shocker. And I just want to tell you what's on my mind right now, and have a very happy Thanksgiving for all of you. It may be our last. And anyway, I just wanted to tell you that. There's other things I want to say, I need to say, but I got to go back and refer to some notes, because there's a couple of things in there that really disturbed me that I want to tell you about. Jody, Wolfe, Expoz.